Chelsea. Now, the former Aston Villa striker Gabriel Bonglahor joined Adrian Durham on breakfast. That doesn't even sound right. This morning, and he said even though David Raya would be a great signing for Arsenal, Aaron Ramsdale can feel hard done by.
I think Raya's the better keeper. You know, when you watched him at Brentford, some of the saves, playing from the back as well, he's so good. And there's a reason why teams are after him, Bayern Munich after him. But if you're Ramsdale, you're like, oh, you know, I saw off a couple of keepers and now you're looking to replace me. And he wasn't bad last season, was he? Or am I missing certain games? I think, how many teams in the Premier League do you see with 2 top keepers? You don't.
I don't think David Raya was better than Ramsdale last season.
You're not?
No. I think Ramsdale was better. I think a lot of people make assumptions about Ramsdale towards the end because of how Arsenal ended the season and it kind of falling away. But in terms of, for most of the season, Ramsdale was unbelievable.
I agree, and I think his distribution, it gets overlooked.
Yep.
He's one of the best in the Premier League, and I'm talking with the best with his feet. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm gobsmacked by it, to be honest. I like Raya, don't get me wrong. And, you know, if Arsenal was struggling for a goalkeeper, go and get him. He's good enough. But I don't think Gab's right. How many... Okay, City's number 2 is a good keeper.
Yeah.
Liverpool's number 2 is a decent keeper. I'm just thinking off the top of my head.
Yeah.
How many have 2 top keepers? Do you know who did it for a while? Didn't PSG do with Donnarumma and...
Keylor Navas.
Yeah, and they kept switching them week to week.
Yeah.
Was it Poch when he was switching them? Or maybe it was before, even
I think
before
it was them two. They had them two.
And both their form suffered.
Yeah.
Both their form suffered.
David Raya, I mean, if he hasn't got assurances that he's going to come to Arsenal and be the number 1, surely he can go elsewhere and become someone's number 1 quite easily.
Exactly.
Quite surprising. All right, well, listen, we've gone to the phone lines 03 717 22 33 44. Let's go and speak to Anthony. He's an Arsenal fan. Anthony, how you doing?
All right, Darren, I'm good. How are you?
I'm not bad. So what do you think then? Ramsdale, David Raya, does it make sense to you?
As an Arsenal fan, yeah, it does. Being honest, if I'm being honest, Darren, I'm in a podcast group, and I've been saying it for the past 4 or 5 months. That not because I think that Ramsdale has made errors and he's had a brilliant season, but I just think you gotta keep players on the toes. Now I feel since Ramsdale took the number 1 jersey, he's had easy sailing, and then Leno left. So we brought in Matt Turner, the American. No disrespect to Matt Turner or wherever we played football before, but that's a serious drop-off if we get an injury to Aaron Ramsdale and Matt Turner has to come in. So why not get a top-class goalie that keeps Ramsdale on his toes, and both of them have to be on their toes. Whoever wants the top has to be doing it in training, and when they get the chance, they have to seize the opportunity. I think it's a win-win. We do it with outfield players, so what's the difference?
I do see your point in terms of if you're going to get a number 2 and get a really good one to push the first. But the problem is there's a reason why a lot of clubs don't have 2 number 1, as in stature and quality, because the goalkeeping position is probably the one where it's the most consistent, the safest, the one that's most regularly used. You don't really have a number 2 you're paying a huge sum for and paying them huge wages to sit on the bench the majority of the season and playing the odd cup game. So I do understand the idealistic view that, yes, let's have 2 really good ones fighting it out like you would in an outfield position. But there's a reason none of the other clubs do it, really.
Yeah, but with all due respect, Danny, it's not about what other clubs do, and it's what Arteta thinks is best for Arsenal. And that's the most important thing for me as an Arsenal fan. I don't care if Man City ain't doing it, or Liverpool or Chelsea. It doesn't matter. What matters to me is what Arsenal are doing. And if Mikel Arteta, and I'm in agreement with him, that I feel a top-class goalie will push Ramsdale, because, as I said, since Ramsdale got the number 1 jersey from Leno, and when he signed, what assurances did he get? He was coming from a relegation team, let's remember.
Do you know what, Anthony, as well? And listen, you make some good points there. But I think Ramsdale will be able to handle it, but you're right. If you're David Raya, the first question I'm asking is, well, listen, am I going to play? Because if I'm coming for this amount of money, I know Ramsdale's been fantastic, but am I going to play? Because I'm not coming to sit on your bench. Even if you're in the Champions League, I'm not coming and just sitting there and watching for half a season. When, as I said before, David Raya could go most places and get...
Do you know what it is, Benny?
Spurs looking for another goalkeeper.
No, they bought one, haven't they? It depends on who else is in as well. And the confidence in himself.
Yeah.
So if you were getting signed, you had a lot of moves, and the manager's saying, look, I want you, but I've got another number 9, you're going to keep compete, you'd probably back yourself.
Yeah, of course.
Depending who it was. If it was Aguero or someone.
Back myself. Nah, I'll leave that, gaffer.
You're going to compete with Wayne Rooney this season. No, I'll leave that one. He probably does back himself, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just don't see, unless he's going in to be the number 1, him going and having this game for game kind of...
Yeah.
If he brings him in, he's number 1, he makes that decision, fair play.
Yeah.
If he thinks he's better than Ramsdale, I want him, fair play to Arteta, you've got to back him.
Yeah.
But then Ramsdale has gone... You know what it's like when you get used to playing every week?
Yeah.
Is he really going to want to sit and watch?
No, he's going to want off.
Going to want off.
Do you know what's funny? Someone's put here, Chelsea did this with Kepa and Mendy, and no one seemed to care. Yeah, but Kepa and Mendy, I don't think are as good as David Raya and Ramsdale.
Well, what you could argue they're quite equal on people. Like some people prefer one, some prefer the other.
Yeah.
But what you could also argue is they both suffered.
Yeah, both their form suffered.
100%.
Massively. All right, let's quickly go. Take one more. Let's go to Andy's an Arsenal fan. Whoa, Andy, you all right?
How you doing, lads?
Yeah, we're good. How you been? You all right?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Very well. Right, for me, I would do everything you can do to get him in, Raya in, because Ramsdale. I don't want him to let goals in. I want him to do well. I never want Arsenal to lose, but he's vulnerable. He will play. He will have every sort of 4th or 5th game. He will make a wicket. From his concentration level, he'll do something silly. He'll play out the back. He'll do a suicide pass. And I think that Arteta is savage. He can see. I mean, he'll never say anything. He'll never come out in front of people and slate anyone. But what he does behind closed doors, I think he sits down with his team, he sits down with his trainers, the coaches, and think, you know what, when he comes, he's definitely gone up a level. He's definitely improved. But is he now going to go to the next level? Is he there? Is he going to get us 8 or 9 points this season through making world-class saves? You know, he does drop them every now and then. And I think if you bring the other guy in, you know, he's not going to come in and sit down. And I think that maybe after, 10 games, he'll introduce him, pretty much like it was when Ramsdale come and Leno was in. So I think that if we can get him in, it's good business. You've got to trust what he's doing. You've got to trust Arteta.
Do you know what, Andy? Andy, do you know what? I think a lot of Arsenal fans do trust in Arteta. I think one or two of them, though, they trust him, but they look at the Havertz signing, they've gone, okay, I'm not sure about it, but I'm trusting him because of what he's done previous, Arteta. But even with David Raya now, and this is what the problem is, I think, when you try and bring in a player who's as good as, say, Ramsdale potentially, is that you put the doubt in fans' minds now. All of a sudden now they're waiting for Ramsdale's first Rick, and it's like, oh, see, David Raya, Arteta's right. And I don't think that does him any favours.
I think there's one thing people are forgetting here, and we all do it. You remember the last bit of the season. He made a couple of errors, maybe. Only one I can really think of, but maybe 2. Up until the point where they were top, you know, the last, 8 games, 8 games, whatever, he was incredible. Nobody was questioning him. Nobody was saying Arsenal need a new goalkeeper.
No.
Nobody was saying he's vulnerable.
No.
Nobody. I didn't hear anyone.
Nope.
And if they did, I'd like to see the piece or replay the footage, because everyone was eulogising about him, rightly so, because his performances deserved it.
Yeah. So
there's a difference in Arteta saying he was brilliant, but I think this fella's better.
Yeah.
No problem. Back your manager. It's just tough. Life's tough. If Ramsdale's out of the picture because Arteta thinks I want to kick on, fair play to him.
Yeah.
But I don't see this thing where 2 keepers are battling it out week in, week out. Arteta's got in his head who his number 1 is.
He knows already.
And the only thing you can do with another top-level keeper, really, is say, come here, you're not going to start. You can fight it out, but you're not going to be number 1, and we're just going to weigh you in.
Yeah.
But he's got options.
Yeah.
So I don't see that either.
That's the point. And that's the thing. He could go somewhere else and become
number 1.
Yeah. It's crazy.
talkSPORT Drive with Andy Goldstein. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.